Company. Welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And today's our global story round. It is global in so much as we have Baba C so far in Washington, D.C. He's been trying to escape. He escapes in January over to Africa and North Africa and Morocco and Evita, who I'm not sure, is kind of a Swiss, Australian, Mongolian, um, Egyptian, something. Anyway, she's I never know where she is, but I think she's in Switzerland right now, aren't you?
I am for a little while. Yes, I've been to Amsterdam, I've been to Germany, I'm in Switzerland at the moment, soon to be in the UK.
Fantastic, and of course in Marrakesh itself, the centre of our global activities, there is Waleed, who is represented by two candles because just one doesn't show his light quite as much. Uh,
Is
anyway,
it possible that Omar is there?
well, I don't know. Someone's there.
Okay.
Um, if Omar's there, get him off the serving tea and tell him to tell a story. Um,
Yeah.
Don, your comment about the candles was very enlightening.
There we go.
Here we go. Well, we're ready. So for that, you're going to start, Baba C.
Oh, you know not what you start. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do something a little bit different.
Oh
There's
no.
a. It wouldn't be me if it wasn't. I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I just got to bring it up again. And he said, looking for it again. This is a story. Oh, by the way, before I do my story, John, who told you the story about the Marrakesh?
It's not a Marrakesh. It's a Marcouche.
I'm American. Leave me alone. But who told you the
Marcouche.
story?
Marcouche.
Marcouche.
Respect those villages on the edge of
You're
the
right.
Sahara
You're
Desert.
absolutely right. I sit corrected.
Yeah,
But
right. Anyway, the person that, but more importantly, it was. Um, oh God, I say it all the time. Someone was sitting on the edge in a bus station, and I'll come back to that in the program. It will come to me. I've just got one of those early morning name falls out of my head.
I
Um,
understand. I'm sipping my
I
coffee.
think it was Ishmael, wasn't it?
I
Did I say
think
Ishmael
that's what you
yesterday?
said. I think so. It's. I've been up since 3, so I don't know yet. I barely know who I am. But I'm
Okay.
going to do something a little bit different. And this is a story that is in public domain and has been told many different ways. But I like it because to me it's kind of funny and humorous. Has a lot of oxymorons. And it's called Two Dead Boys. Ladies and gentlemen, skinny and stout, I'll tell you a tale I know nothing about. The admission is free, so pay at the door. Now pull up a chair and sit on the floor. One fine day, in the middle of the night, two dead boys got up to fight. Back to back, they faced each other, drew their swords, and shot each other. A blind man came to watch fair play. A mute man came to shout, "Hooray!" A deaf policeman heard the noise and came to stop those two dead boys. He lived on the corner in the middle of the block, in a two-story house on a vacant lot. A man with no legs came walking by and kicked the lawman in his thigh. He crashed through a wall without making such a sound in a dry creek bed and suddenly drowned. The long black hearse came to cart him away, but he ran for his life and is still gone today. I watched from the corner of the big round table, the only eyewitness to facts of my fable. But if you're in doubt that my lies are true, just ask the blind man. He saw it too.
I love that. Was that the one you were going to do yesterday? And
Yes.
I suspected it might be. So you've been holding it for the last 6 hours or 8 hours or something, 12 hours.
Yes. Yes. And that's the one I was looking for. And the way my screen is set up, when I put the worldstorytellingcafe.com as the major window, that kind of disappears and I have to look for it. But what I did is I shrank our window so I could see it. But yeah, I like that one. I used to
Yeah,
know it by
it's a
heart.
great nonsense poem.
Yes.
I mean, we had it as I had it as a child here, and Evita, do you come across that one? You haven't heard it before.
You need to remember that I did not grow up English is my second language. I did not grow up with
Oh no,
English.
you grew up in Switzerland, didn't you?
I grew
Not
up
in
in the Swiss
Australia.
Alps, and then I bombed around. Once I was 16, I bombed around the world and picked up languages here and there. So I haven't possibly come across everything. But it's
Well,
great. I love
there's
it.
no excuse for
No,
not knowing everything.
But you can Google two dead boys. But if they answer, don't make a noise.
yeah.
But
All right, okay. So on that, we'll go to Evita.
Oh, already? All right.
Well, there's only three of us,
All
and
right.
it would be very
So
rude to put
far.
myself first. I either put myself first or last. I
All
don't
right.
do the middle, darling.
Now,
No comment.
because there's just the three of us, I might repeat that if you want at some other stage. Now, we all love you, John. I've often wondered what your connection is to Romania. I found out. Now, John, your name, as you both know, means the grace of God. Babasi, if you ever wondered what happened earlier in John's life, you know that big hole that he never really talks about?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. We shall go somewhere because in Romania, the name John is Yoska. And before John, when John's beard was still ginger and he still had his own teeth, there was so, oh, I should have waited for you to swallow. Okay. He had his own teeth. I tell you, he lived an entirely different life. This story was translated by a guy called Jacint Lazoc. It is part of Roma folktales. It's a traveler Roma story from Romania. Gelem gelem lugone dromenza, maladilen bactale romenza, aya romales, aya chavale. Opre Roma, opre John Yoska. Now, Yoska was a Roma, and he was a poor man. But he was happy, for he had Milena, his wife. And poor as they were, they lived at the edge of a small village. They did not have children, but they were content. One day, Yoska was walking to town, going about his usual business. On his way back, Yoska got caught in a thunderstorm. It pelted and it poured. He was wet to his skin. Didn't bother him much, but the fact that his beloved felt hat, it's still the same that he's got on his head right now, was soaked and droopy, made him stop. It made him stop in a small shelter of a grove of trees and wait out the storm. Soon the sun peeked back over the clouds. And John Yoska decided, oh, I might as well stay here a while and let my beloved hat dry. And he put it on a bush, sat on a rock, put a piece of straw in his mouth and chewed, and as he does, he daydreamed. He daydreamed about this and that, chewing on the straw until suddenly he said, he said to himself, Yoska, if you manage to get that hat off that bush without moving a single leaf, you'll be a great rogue. 2 hours later, the hat was dry. Yoska went up to the bush and ever so carefully he lifted the hat off. Some leaves rustled, but Yoska imagined that they didn't. And whistling, I am a great rogue, I'm a great rogue, he walked home, opened the gate. Milena, Milena, my love, greet Yoska, your husband, the great rogue. Milena laughed. Yoska, you, a rogue? You've never even stolen a needle. Well, it's true, said Yoska. I've never hurt anyone or stolen anything, for that matter. But listen, Milena, I am a great rogue. Go tell the world. She goes, you're not a rogue, Yoska. I am a rogue. Look at me. Behold, your rogue husband. Go tell the king. Go, go, go. Milena, thinking, well, that'll teach him a lesson. I'll go and see the king. She rushed over to the palace, stating that she had a very important message for the king. In she was brought, and she bowed respectfully before the king and said, Your Majesty. The king looked at her from his great throne. Woman, what is a message of such great importance? She looked up and she says, well, I've come to tell you that my husband, Yoska, is a great rogue. Repeat. I said my husband, Yoska, is a great rogue. Woman, have you come here to waste my majestic time with such a nonsense message? Pardon, Your Majesty. Go back and tell that Yoska husband of yours, the rogue, if he is indeed such a rogue, he shall come tonight between sunset and sunrise and steal my favorite stallion. If he does not succeed, now here Babasi and Renu comes where John's love for chopping off heads comes in. It was the first time he learned. So the king said to Milena, indeed, if he does not manage to steal my stallion, his head will roll. She bowed once again and she rushed home. Ha ha, Milena, Milena, said Yoska, you're back. Have you told everyone? She says, I went to tell the king. Oh, what did he say? Said Yoska. The king said that if you're really such a rogue, you should steal his favorite stallion between sunset and sunrise. And he says, why would I do that? Well, if you don't, Yoska, if you don't, it will be off with your head. Now, you need to know something. John, Yoska, was really rather fond of the feeling of a head on his neck. So he thought, Milena, why did you go and do that? Yoska, you told me to. No, I didn't, not directly. You did tell me. So they started fighting, as couples do, back and forth. You said I should. No, I didn't. I didn't mean it that way. Back and forth until Milena picked up a saucepan and said, I'm going to throw that at your head in a minute. So they made peace. And the next day, Yoska went to the market. He had a few coins in his pocket from his savings, and he bought a small pouch of Hungarian tobacco. He also bought a bottle of very, very strong Palinka. Another little hint why John is fond of the Palinka. He took the bottle, he unstopped it, and he put some sleeping powder inside it and put the cork back. Then he went off towards the castle. The sun wasn't quite setting when Yoska stood outside and began to chant, Tobacco, Hungarian tobacco, tobacco, Hungarian tobacco. Now, the king's favourite stallion, was guarded by 12 soldiers day and night. Not the most exciting job. Tobacco, the finest Hungarian tobacco. 2 guards looked out the window and said, "Hey, it's Yoska." "Yoska, what are you doing in these parts?" "Tobacco, I've got some Hungarian tobacco." "Oh, don't be like that. Come in and share." So Yoska went inside. And each one of the 12 guards got to take a pinch and stuff it in their pipes. There was a bit of contented mumbling and grumbling, until one soldier said wistfully, "What I would not give for a swig of Palinka to go with this fine tobacco." Said Yoska, "It so happens that I have a bottle of Palinka with me. Bring on the glasses, you know me, I'm happy to share. Bring on 12 glasses." They did. And Yoska poured double shots for each one. "There's not that much, but enough to quench our thirst, and I'll drink the rest out of the bottle." Clink! Salutate! They clinked glasses, and they drank, and they cheered, and they drank. And it didn't take too long until they were slumped in chairs, over tables, and some straight on the floor. Of course, this whole time, Yoska had just pretended to sip out of the bottle. When he made sure that everyone was asleep, he went and opened the stable of the stallion. He gently, quietly let the horse out, climbed on top, and actually fell quite like the king. No, he didn't fall down, like the king himself, as he went home. He tied the stallion next to his tent. The sun was about to rise, and the king, like every morning, looked out his window to check the weather. This is how it was done in the olden days. When he saw in the distance his stallion tied next to a tent. "Huh," said the king. "Indeed. Messenger, go and get Yoska or that wife of his. I have a message for them." So Milena, very nervously, went back to the castle. She bowed as deeply as she could. "So," said the king, "Yoska did manage to steal my stallion. So there is the makings of a rogue, I suppose, but I need more proof. Go home to Yoska and tell him he needs to go and steal the priest out of the priest's bed and deliver him to my bedroom by midnight. If he does not succeed..." Come on, John, do it. "Off with his head." Ah, Milena raced home and says, "No, we're done for, Yoska. We're really done for. This time..." "What is it this time?" said Yoska. "This time I have to go and steal the priest out of his bed and bring it by midnight to the king's chamber. You cannot do that. You cannot." Now Yoska scratched his head, and his hands went to his neck, and he stroked it and his chin, because he quite liked the feeling of a head on his neck. Scratched his beard. Then he got a bag and put a candle inside it and got a fishing rod. "You're going fishing now?" said Milena. "Now? When I'm about to lose you and your head is about to roll?" "Worry not, beloved Milena," said Yoska. And indeed, he went fishing. Once he caught a fish. He took it, and the bag and the candle, waited for night time. Then the strangest thing, he lit the candle and stuck it into the fish's mouth and held it up. In the other hand, he held the bag. He went right up where he knew the priest would be sleeping, and he began to chant eerily, "He who wants to enter heaven right now, jump into this bag." The priest woke up at this sound, but remained silent, rubbed his eyes. Had he heard correctly? "Oh, he who wants to enter heaven right now, jump into this bag." He went to the window, and all he saw in the dark was a fish with a candle in its mouth. "Oh, he who wants to enter heaven right now, jump into this bag." "I want to go to heaven," said the priest, and he jumped out of the window straight into the bag. Yoska picked up the bag. Uh-oh. The priest was a tall, lanky guy, and his head stuck out. And no matter how much Yoska tried to shove it down, it didn't work. So he grabbed the priest's legs through the bag and began to run towards the castle. He ran, and you know what happened? The priest's head thump, hit the rock. "Ouch," said the priest. "Ouch, sir, how much further? To heaven." "Few more knocks," said Yoska. And finally, they made it just in time to the castle, straight up to the king's chambers. Yoska put the bag down and said, "Your Majesty, here is your priest." The priest picked out of the bag, saw the king, saw Yoska, realized he was not in heaven, scrambled out of the bag, and raced away as fast as he could. He was never seen in that town again. "Well," said the king, sitting down heavily on his bag, "I must admit, Yoska, you are the greatest rogue I've met. For this, I let you keep the horse, and I let you fill this bag with gold. For you are a great rogue. Promise me one thing, though. No more roguing of my stuff." So Yoska went down to the treasury, and he filled that bag with gold right to the rim. And then the bag was too heavy. So he emptied half of it. It was manageable. And Yoska went home. He bought a small house, some nice clothes for Milena and himself, and a small little cart, a coach for the horse. And Milena, the horse, and Yoska live in those parts still. But every now and then, you see Yoska John around in Marrakesh and in the UK. Hold on to your hats, my friends. Hold on to your hats. Thank you. That one was for you, John. Yoska, you tell
Thank
me
you,
what
Peter. I promise not to tell it anywhere where we're both together, but I'd like to tell that story.
You can do it wherever you want. This is my little gift for you. You can tell it. I knew you'd love it.
Oh, it was. It's it's a bit like Jack the Master Thief, which I will relearn at some point and tell. I visit every few years. It's even more complex than that, and I always get part of it in my head and never quite get the whole thing, and I give up. And I'm now minded to revisit it. Renu, welcome.
Hello.
Now, I've got a confession. Renu should have been on our Fridays 2 weeks ago. However, it is not her fault that she was not. I couldn't read my own writing in the diary, and I'd also written. I wrote Renu in the chart at the beginning, but I'd written Sarah Lloyd Winter on the actual date. So so I ended up I put Sarah on, and later that day Renu messaged me saying, am I on tonight? And I had to confess that I had, in fact. First time in 5 years I've done this, but I double booked. So now Renu is going to have her own program, and I announce this, and I can read my writing here. And she's on the 12th of June on Friday at 6 o'clock at UK time. That's about midnight, and no, it's about 11 o'clock in India, I think. Anyway, Renu, would you like to tell us a story?
Well, you'll have
Yes.
to unmute.
Yes, I never refuse to tell a story.
Please.
Okay, shall I start?
Please start, yes.
Okay. This is also one of my favorite stories. There was once a chief who ruled over a mighty land, deserts in the west, plains in the east, mountains in the north, and forests and lakes in the south. The chief ruled her land with a firm hand, but she was also very kind and compassionate. And because of that, people loved her. Well, it was not only that. Every time people had a problem, she would listen and listen with the intention to understand. And because she listened with the intention to understand, she always found a solution for their problems. And her people loved her so much. Every time there was news of her impending arrival in their area of the land, they would organize a huge feast. Musicians would be called, they would be dancing and feasting and drinking till late at night. And when the chief went back, she always felt happy that she had received so much love. Now, one night when she was sleeping in her bed, she felt a little strange. She was turning and tossing, and she could feel a kind of breeze going past her face. And in the morning, when she woke up, she found at the foot of her bed a coin. And on that coin was a seed, a very ordinary looking seed. The chief picked up the seed and looked at it. What is this? She thought to herself. And who could have placed it here? She checked with everyone in the house, but they all said, "But chief, we wouldn't disturb you when you're sleeping. Moreover, your door must have been locked." Yes, it was locked. Never mind. So she took a pot, filled it with rich, dark soil, made a hole right in the center, and placed the seed deep inside. And she watered it. And she placed it right there. Every day she looked at it. And one day she saw the tiny shoot coming out. And she was happy. And so she looked after it like one would look after a baby. And the plant grew and grew and grew and spread all over. And she saw that the tiny gourd was growing out of it. And one day, as days and weeks and months went by, it had become a huge gourd, golden in color, with not a single blemish on it. It was time to harvest. So she cut off the stem very carefully. And then she cut a little bit of the top and scooped out all the insides. And then she placed it in the sun to dry. And after it had dried, it was so beautiful. She placed it on a table right next to her bed. Now, one thing she realized was that the gourd had magic, because every time she put her hand in and wished for something, her wish was fulfilled. But the chief was wise. She realized that every time she took something, she had to put something back in. And that's what she did. After a few days, she decided not to use it unless it was absolutely necessary, that too for her people. And so it sat there next to her bed. Now, one day there was a skirmish far away in the west, and she was called, and so she left. And when she left, 3 pairs of eyes were watching her go. The 3 brothers were thieves. They had heard rumors about this gold, and they wanted it for themselves. So when the chief had disappeared from sight, they broke into her house and looked all around for it. Finally, the oldest one found it on the table next to her bed. So he picked it up and said, "Let's leave." And so they left. They went far, far away into the forest. And when they went deep inside, they found a small wooden shack. They went in and nailed the door in so that nobody could enter. Now, the eldest brother said, "I found it, so I'm going to ask for myself first." And he put his hand in and said, "I want 10 gold coins." And when he took his hand out, there they were shining so beautifully, and he was happy. The second brother said, "It's my turn now." And he put in his hand and said, "I want a diamond which is really, really big and the best possible one in the world." And when he took his hand out, there was this big, heavy diamond, glittering, and he could see all the lights inside the diamond. He was happy. And then the third brother said, "I'm going to do it now." And he put his hand in and said, "I want the sharpest, longest spear studded with gold and diamonds." And when he took his hand out, there it was, the sharpest spear that could pierce anything. Now, when the oldest brother saw this, he thought, "Oh, I just asked for 10 golden coins. These are useless. Look at my brothers." And so he put his hand once again and asked for something else. And they took turns, and they took, and they took, and they took, and the goat continued to give and give and give. Finally, she could take it no more. Because you see, the brothers didn't know that every time you take something out, you've got to put something back in. And so it was that the goat became weaker and weaker and weaker and finally broke into 54 pieces. The brothers were now angry. They started blaming each other. "It was you. You were greedy. No, it was you. You did it." Now, first it was just words. Then soon it moved to blows and then shoving and pushing. And they didn't realize that the tiny hut was crammed with all the things that asked for. And there was so much of fighting and pushing that all of that fell on top of them and they were pinned to the floor of the hut. Not able to move, not able to breathe. Now, the chief had come back home, and the first thing she noticed was the gold was gone. "Where is it?" She quickly called for all her people and said, "Go and look for it. Go look for it. Don't come back without it." So the guards went this way and that way, and some of them went into the forest. And one of them said, "Look, there is this strange light coming out from that hut." So they went there and banged on the door and said, "Open, open." Nobody opened. And so they broke it open. And they found all the treasure. They found the 3 brothers. And they found that the gold had shattered into pieces. So very carefully, they picked up all the pieces, put it in a bag, and took it back to the chief. The chief was very unhappy when she saw the broken gold, but she was also happy that it had come back. And so she started piecing it back together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 20, 35, 40, 50, 53. Where is the last piece? It was but a tiny little piece. "Where is that?" she asked. "Well, this is what we found, Chief. This is all we found." "Go and look for the last one. This gold is not complete without the last piece," she said. And she refused to come out of her house. She said, "I will not step outside till the last piece is found and the gold is whole again." And so once again, the people left. They searched days, for weeks, for months. After a year and a day had gone by, one of the soldiers found it embedded in the dirt. He picked it up very carefully, joy in his heart, he went back to the chief. And she took it and put it back. And now the gold was whole. And she finally stepped out of her house and she said, "Come with me." She called her people. And she went to the highest point in the land and placed the goat there and said, "Every time you leave our land and you come back, look at the goat. The goat is the same as our earth and also represents us. Remember this always. You can take whatever you want from the goat, but every time you take something out, remember to put something back." And that's the end of the story. Thank you.
That
Good.
is a fabulous story. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Is that traditional or one of yours? Or
It's not mine. I found this on YouTube. Reason I
Oh.
love the stories because, like I said, I'm passionate about the environment. I'm passionate about animals, and this is precisely what we are doing to our earth. We are mining. We are literally raping her, taking everything possible.
it's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
It,
So I
it's
tried this to
and very
teach you.
simple to understand.
Yes.
I think that's a great thing about stories, isn't it? We can
And-
take very complex stuff and put it down so everyone can understand it.
And it's very applicable
Wonderful.
and
So
adaptable.
we're looking forward to your session next month, which is written in stone.
Not in sand, in stone.
In stone. We know the story that Vita's referring to. Right, I suppose I better tell a story.
You
Now-
better.
Oh,
Yes.
I've been dredging through the memory cells, and I sort of remember that it was one of my kids' favourite stories when they were growing up, but it's an Irish story that's about as a mother, very, very poor. When she has a baby, she has no money to buy it clothes. So every time she took the ashes from the fire, she made a little hole in the middle and put the baby in the hole. And as the baby grew, the pile of ashes grew and grew and grew. And actually, he's doing all right. You know, it's not child abuse; it's necessity. And and eventually, she gets a goat skin. Wow! She can dress him in a goat skin. He can go out. He's so proud. He's got his lovely goat skin, and of course, everyone in the village is sort of making fun of him and poke. But he's a big lad, and he sticks and stones and all that. And so one day there's a herald comes through the village, blowing his bugle, woo, and it's a proclamation from the king. The king has a daughter, a princess, and she hasn't laughed for years and years and years. And whoever can make her laugh can have a hand in marriage. Well, but this is sort of in the back of the boy's head, but Mum's got more immediate concerns. I've run out of wood. Go, and he's a big lad. Go and collect some wood in the forest. So he goes in the forest and he's got a big bundle of sticks. And he's just about to pick them up and take them home when a great ogre with one head turns up. Who's stealing wood from my forest? Well, it takes a thief to recognize one, said the boy, and only the unlucky ones die. And with that, he gets a big stick and he hits. And this is when we're taught in self-defense, don't go for the bit in the middle between the legs, go for the kneecaps, because people will fall down with the kneecaps. So the ogre falls down and he takes a stick as a spear and puts it over the head and said, and I think it's your turn to die. The ogre said, no, 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 no. He said, I've got this club. I dropped it down there, so I never had a chance to hit you with it. But if you take this club, you can't lose a fight. It'll just keep bashing people until they're all fallen down. If you spare my life, you can have the club. Well, the boy looks over and he's calculating whether he can get to the club before the ogre once he'd taken his foot off his neck. And but he manages to get it. And the ogre goes off. And he walks home. He's got the big lad, bundle of sticks on one shoulder, club on the other. Gives mum the sticks. When the boys of the village made fun of him, he was quite gentle. He just gave them a little tap with the club, and just enough to suggest that they didn't do it again. And but the bundle of sticks, the sticks run out. They burn. I know this because my wood burner in Romania is just, I seem to have a pile of logs. Then I haven't got a pile of logs 2 minutes later. And he goes out in the forest again. This time it's an ogre with 2 heads. Well, he takes the club, boom, boom. Who's stealing my wood? It takes a thief to recognise one. Only the unlucky one's dying. He's knocked the ogre at the kneecaps with his club. The ogre falls down. He's walking the club from one head to another. He doesn't quite touch it. It's just going close enough. Spare me, spare me, spare me. I've got this whistle and flute, and if you blow it, whoever's listening can't help but dance. That's quite a nice one, thought the boy. And he gets the whistle, shoves it in the pocket in his goat skin, and club at his shoulder, big, and he lets the ogre go. Well, inevitably, the sticks run out, and he goes for a third time, and predictably, this time, it's an ogre with 3 heads. Well, same thing. Who's stealing my wood? Takes the thief to recognise one. Only the unlucky ones die. Beats the ogre with the club. Oh, just quick tap on the kneecaps and holds the club over his 3 heads. Boom, 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 boom. He's quite a nimble lad. Spare me, spare me, spare me. Take this ointment, and if you rub it on yourself, you can't be cut and you can't be burnt. Thank you very much. Well, in the back of his mind, he remembers the princess. So he goes off to the gates of Dublin. And he's still a funny looking lad in his goat skin. He's got his ointment, he's got his whistle, and he's got his club. And the guards at the gate start making fun of him, and he doesn't mind a bit of, he's had it all his life. He kind of ignores it. But when they start poking their spears into him, and he thinks this is a bit much, and he bashes them all in the head, and they end up in the river Liffey, and he wanders in. And in the courtyard is everyone trying to make this princess laugh. There's jugglers, there's clowns, there's wrestlers. And the princess sitting there, straight face, miserable, edge of her mouth turned down. So the boy walks up, and there's all these wrestlers. I mean, I had a friend, Indian friend, who was a filmmaker, and she'd been in the forests of North India where they were making films. And the Indian wrestlers, in the films, in the Bollywood films, that's all choreographed. All the wrestling is choreographed. In fact, there's a director that is just in charge of choreographing the wrestlers. But in this film, in the middle of the forest, my friend, who was only a little woman, is there, and the wrestlers start fighting for real. There's an argument. It's a bit like in the story of the Three Thieves, and they're just throwing each other around, and all the other directors are afraid to go and split them up, and they turn to my friend and say, could go in. So she walks in, a little woman, she's got her brolly, boom, 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 boom. Well, it's a bit like that in the courtyard of the court of Dublin, and the wrestlers there, but little boy in his goat skin, boom, 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 and all these big men, these huge macho men, are just laid out in the courtyard. And a bit of a smile crosses the princess's mouth. And then a little giggle. And the king invites him in. And he gets on okay with the princess. And of course, he can't sit in the royal court in his goatskin, so they give him a fine suit of clothes. But there's a steward, a chief steward, and he really fancies the princess. And he's been trying to make her laugh for years, but he's really jealous of the boy. He can see the friendship growing, a little love in the eyes, and so he needs the boy to be defeated. And he said, well, every year a wolf comes into Dublin. And everyone has to hide in their houses, because if the wolf catches them, he'll eat them up. And no one has been able to do anything about this wolf. And the boy said, oh, well, I'll sort that out. Anyway, the wolf comes in. Everyone's hiding, running behind the doors, slamming the doors behind them. And the boy's just standing there in the middle of the street. And the wolf approaches him. And the boy starts playing his whistle. And the wolf can't help it but dance. Dance, 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 dance. For an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. The wolf is getting really... I like that mood, Bubba C. Could you go do it again one more time? Yeah. And the wolf is getting more and more exhausted. And the boy, with his whistle, leads the wolf to the edge of the town. By this time, the wolf is crawling, still twitching, trying to make some moves. And sort of like Bubba C, when if he has to walk from the Riyadh to the Medina, to the square, and yeah, he gets a tuk-tuk. Well, it's okay. It wasn't a threat, Bubba C. We'll get you a tuk-tuk in January. And maybe your own personal one. We could have it royal, done up, with royal stuff around it. Anyway, the wolf comes, boy says, don't you come back or you might get more of the same. Well, the wolf never came back. Well, there's such feasting, and the man in the red-headed steward, he's getting more and more jealous. And then he eventually turns around and he said, well, every year the Vikings raid Dublin. No one has managed to defeat them. And it's just a raid. And they take our food, and they take our goods, and they take our wealth. Now, if someone could get the whip that hangs in the devil's place, in hell itself, hangs on the wall. And it's a whip of fire and can whip those Vikings out. Now that would be something. But I said, I'll take that challenge. And he walks, it's like in all stories, you go through all those really dodgy places in towns. The towns where you go. In Beaumont in Texas, in East Texas, I booked in a Days Inn there, and I booked with my partner and her daughter, and it was just, we knew it was dodgy when we looked at the sheets, and it wasn't exactly the Days Inn that we'd got used to. And then in the morning when I came out, how dare people phone me at this crucial moment in my life? I can't even find the phone. Oh, it's in my pocket. And it'd be my old friend, potential, suspected spam. Yeah, my old friend suspected spam. That was the cousin of potential fraud. And anyway, we're in this Days Inn, and then I saw these 10-year-olds carrying carrying laundry on their backs up the stairs, and Babassi will know what a Days Inn it's like. They always have these staircases outside up to thing, and then my friends, but Trudy Terry was a storyteller. We'd gone. It was after she died, and we'd gone to sort of see her children, and they said, "You're not staying in that Days Inn, are you?" And we said, "Yes." They said, "Well, that's kind of dodgy because there's been a couple of raids on people smuggling there and a couple of murders. We found another hotel very quickly, but it was the road to hell was scattered with Days Inns and very, I didn't find anything like that in Chennai, but then I was very well looked after by Nina. Anyway, it just got dodgier and dodgier till he got to hell itself, and he knocks on the door and he's let in, and he's covered himself in this ointment, and there in the wall is the whip. And of course, there's lots of little demons in hell, and the devil himself is going to attack this man, give him a really hard time, little deep pinch, and they pull your hair and scratch your knees and all that stuff. So the boy just goes up, takes the whip off the wall, and just whips the little demons back, and asks the devil himself if he wants some. Devil says, "No, it's okay. You just carry on your way." Well, the princess has already laughed at the man. She laughed at the wolf dancing, but he's got to make her laugh 3 times. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you assume that anyways, because there's always the rule of 3 in stories. And he gets there. He's proudly got the whip. Those Vikings will never bother you again. And he puts the whip down on the stone, and it's burning a hole in the stone, but the steward thinks, I can deal with this, and he grabs the whip. And he's dancing around with his burnt hand, and the princess is laughing because she knows what an idiot he is. And but the boy, he's quite a kind fellow, and he doesn't misuse these gifts. So he takes the ointment and he rubs it on the steward's hands, so the steward doesn't get burnt. A sort of mythical aloe vera, I suppose. And and of course, the princess had laughed 3 times, and she quite liked the boy, so she had no objection. And So he married the princess, and no doubt he looked after his mother. Now, whether he wanted his mother living with him, I don't know. But that's another story. But I do know he either built her a house for his own, or he gave her a wing in the palace. And so I'll vaguely get that story back together at one point. I just the only way to remember a story is to tell it. So that's great. We've had now a program. It's fantastic. So thank
John.
you, Renu. Thank you, Baba C. Thank
Pleasure.
you, Amina. Now, tomorrow, which being Sunday at 6 o'clock in the evening, 11 o'clock for you, Renu, there is the Worldwide Story Round, which is much more established and much more and it's run by it's usually hosted by Mike Rust, who runs a festival called Get a Word in Edgeways in October, and a great supporter of ours. And he can't do it this week, so I think it's Keith.
Keith again, okay.
Keith doing it this year. This
Which
week,
Keith?
not this year, this week. So tomorrow at 6 o'clock is our Worldwide Story Round. You'll meet if you happen to be around, Renu, you'll meet many more tellers. But it might be a little late for you. Well, it depends.
Yes. I'll try. I'll see if I can. If I get a nap in the afternoon, it shouldn't be a problem. But I don't sleep in the afternoons.
Well,
If I do get a nap.
you'll notice that Baba C is a vampire, because he whatever time of day it is in Washington D.C., he manages to get to us. So
I'm telling you, my alarm's about to go off to tell me it's time to get up. Hey,
Well,
John, real quick, when you were telling the story and you were talking about a dodgy hotel, many years ago when my beard was ginger, no, wait, my beard was black and I had hair under here, I had to go to New York City and my host, for some mysterious reason, was not home. So I had to find alternative lodging. And I checked into a hotel that was rather, shall we say, seedy. I knew I was
it
in
rented
trouble.
rooms by the hour, put it that way.
Yes, I was trying not to say. And when I told him I wanted to rent a room for the night, he told me he couldn't rent me a room unless I came back late that night. So I didn't have any choice. I came back that night, and I'm not going to say the place was seedy, but there were cigarette burns on the on the side table, and the television was bolted to the stand. I was never so happy to wait, and I was dubious of the sheets, but I was never so happy to wake up and get out of a place in my life. But it makes for an interesting story to tell from time to time. So I know a little bit about dodgy hotels, just a little bit.
So what have we got coming up? We've got that tomorrow. We've got I love dodgy hotel stories. They make the best one. I mean, there's nothing. There's not a story in a nice hotel, you know.
Because that'd be boring.
Well, on the other end, real quick, I was staying at I forgot the name of the chain, but I left my cane, and when I got back to D.C., I either got a telephone call or email informing me that I left my cane, and the people at the front desk, when you're nice, people remember you as a rule, and they mailed me my cane to Washington D.C., which I thought was very, very nice.
Oh, I've stayed in marvelous places in Texas. But so what we got coming up? You're going to like this one. So we've got Worldwide Story Round tomorrow, but we have a graduate of our young storytellers. You know who I'm going to say. We've got next Friday from the Punjab. From Punjab is Jasname.
Yes. Oh, excuse me.
And,
yes.
So she comes on occasionally. So next Friday is Jasname.
If you talk to her beforehand, tell her American uncle says hello.
She's been. We used to do. She was on our first batch of young storytellers.
Yes.
Young international storytellers, and then we let it drop because it sort of diminished after COVID, and then And now we just resurrected our young international storytellers on the first Saturday of every month. So, Reno, if you know any, and that's at this time of day, 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's much better because we're getting people from it, some tellers in from India. So if you know of any young tellers, sort of 21 and under.
Yeah, I'll tell you. How young? What's the age?
Well, can be any age.
Under
If they
18?
can speak, if they can grunt, it's fine. So
21 and under, I believe you said.
Pardon?
21 and under, I believe you said, for the young international.
Yeah,
story.
yeah. I think that's we've made it 21 because there was Aisha, who was a Scots storyteller, is now a very established Scots storyteller. But
All right.
she was going through. So I mean, remember
John, we've had 6-year-olds from, which part of the African continent was she from? Was it Zimbabwe? We had the twins.
Nigeria?
No, the twins are I think they're Nigerian.
Nigerian. And then we had an
African story.
Indian girl. We had an Indian girl a few months back who was telling Goldilocks and the Three Bears. She was so sweet.
Yes,
So she was
yes,
really
yes.
young. It was really gorgeous. And one of my granddaughters told her first story last time. She was nervous, but she did it.
Yeah, it's probably much easier to not do it in front of you, but then she wouldn't have done it if she hadn't been in front of you. It's one of those catch-22 situations.
And she did a story I hadn't known. She was going to surprise me, which really impressed me. She was
great. She was great.
Yeah, I didn't coach her or anything. So she says, "I'm going to surprise you too, Nonna." And I said, "Okay."
So that's always on the first Saturday of every month. Now, our next global one.
But Jasna May is on a Friday, isn't she?
Yeah. Don't confuse me. Jasna May is on her own program on Friday.
No, yeah.
So, I think, it'll be this equivalent. So it'll be the 27th of June, our next global. So, right. Anyway, thank you very much. And thank you, Renu, for forgiving me for my sins and turning up and not blanking us all together.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
today you've planted a seed, and seeds take time to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, CD
I'm
John.
going to run out of... if there's a drought, I'm going to run out of water. Waleed, thank you for flying the magic carpet as always.
Shukran.
Omar, whoever's there.
Shukran.
Thank you.
Run.
Bye-bye, everyone.
All right, I'm going to go to bed so I can get up.
Pretty boys, go on. Straight to bed, prophecy.
Yes.
Lights off. No more talking.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay.
All right. Stay blessed. Stay your wonderful self.
You too.
See you when I see you. I'll be here
Bye-bye.
tomorrow. All right.
Bye.
Good night. No, it's too early in the day. Good morning.
Good morning. Ciao.
Yeah, I'm ready for some chow. See out.